everybody, Trevor here, and as promised, I'm here to give my further thoughts on modern Disney in general. For starters, I truly appreciate the constructive criticism from the last video regarding my reasons for hating Disney nowadays. For instance, I'd like to thank those who warned me about Clownfish TV and their shadiness. Yeah, I decided to unsubscribe from Clownfish TV after making that top 5 because I've heard they were liars and scumbags, and that they do nothing but give nitpicky complaints. I'll provide a link or two in the description below in case you want more information on why the Clownfish TV YouTube channel are nothing but clowns, pun intended. I also want to elaborate more on how the Walt Disney Company have ruined Marvel for the most part. While there are a few gems nowadays, but most other modern day Marvel movies suck at the box office big time, like Madam Web for instance. I also want to point out again from the last video that Disney refused to let a grieving father use a Spider-Man etching on his dead son's tombstone. And as I said before in the last video, that poor father and his dead son deserved better. And I still think that it was very disgusting of Disney and Marvel to not let him use an icon of Spider-Man just for his dead 4-year-old son. I mean, what would the late Stan Lee have to say about this? I get it's for copyright reasons, but come on! This is a dead 4-year-old we're talking about! He was a big fan of Spider-Man when he was alive. Don't you guys think he deserved better after what happened to him? If the father is watching this video, you have my deepest sympathy, and I wish the best for you and your family in the future. Moving on, regarding more on woke culture and politics in Disney entertainment. Another reason that I forgot to mention in the previous video is that they keep race swapping and gender swapping certain characters like Ariel, Scuttle, and more recently, Snow White and the so-called evil queen. Now, I don't mind different races for each character in fiction, but forcing your political views into entertainment isn't making these movies any better. I mean, not all races like to be pandered to, you know. How would you guys feel if I race swapped Princess Tiana from a black person to a Hispanic person? Would you be offended too? And some of you guys might be asking me, what about whitewashing? Well, guess what? It's wrong then as it is now. In fact, it's one of the many few things I don't like about certain good cartoons in the past where they whitewash certain characters just for the sake of not offending the public. So all in all, when it comes to politics, keep them out of entertainment. It's okay to have different races, genders, and other nationalities into your shows and movies. Just don't force politics down our throats, otherwise you lose money and views. Now let's move on to a couple more reasons to hate modern Disney in general. In the original video, I've only listed 5 reasons, but believe it or not, there are a couple more reasons I regret not bringing up in the first place. One of those reasons was the fact that Disney has been buying out half the entertainment industry at this point. I mean, they've bought out Pixar in 2006, Marvel in 2009, Star Wars in 2012, and they've even bought out 20th Century Fox in 2019, which was one of their more recent purchases. Honestly, I was kind of baffled that Disney has bought out almost everybody at this point. And people on the internet have been saying stuff like, what's next? NASA? The whole universe? And South Park? But in all seriousness, let's hope that Disney doesn't buy the rights to Thomas and Friends. I mean, I know Walt Disney loved trains when he was alive, but to paraphrase the late Wilbur Awdry, if the Americans control the Thomas brand, then everything will be ruined. Now, I'm sure Wilbur Awdry doesn't really hate Americans in general, but as one myself, I can kind of understand where he was coming from when he said that quote. Yeah, I kind of agree with him there. Let's talk about one more reason to hate modern day Disney, and that would be the removal of certain classic attractions. Remember Splash Mountain, the log flume that's based on Song of the South? That was recently replaced by Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which failed miserably due to breaking down frequently. Honestly, when I first heard about this stuff on the news, I was baffled and disappointed because, for one thing, I wanted to give this new ride an honest chance because I liked the original Princess and the Frog movie when I first watched it at a Canadian hotel in Halifax back in 2010, but now because of this, it makes me wish for Splash Mountain to return. I know Song of the South was quite racist in plenty of areas, but in all honesty, the movie itself wasn't all bad. I mean, I didn't mind the animal characters speaking with African American accents. They don't look as offensive as the Indians from Peter Pan. And not only that, but Song of the South was one of those criminally underrated Disney movies that deserved more recognition than what it already got. I mean, some people wanted it to be re released on DVD and Blu ray just so that they could use it as an educational tool, and I quite agree with that. And not to mention that James Baskett was the very first African American man to win an Oscar, though it's too bad that he passed away a couple years after the film's release. Heck, even Bobby Driscoll deserved better, and he passed away at a young age, and he was also the original voice of Peter Pan. So yeah, Splash Mountain will always be missed, and it'll be fondly remembered for its great nostalgia. In fact, Zippity Doo Dah was one of my favorite Disney songs growing up. I used to have the sing-along version on VHS back in the day. Another classic attraction that's going to be closing soon is Muppet Vision 3D, which was Jim Henson's last masterpiece as director before his unfortunate passing in 1990. I remember when I first experienced this attraction with my mom and one of my aunts at Hollywood Studios and Walt Disney World back in the early 2010s, and it was a lot of fun. I loved the puppet characters, animatronics, costumes, and even the 3D effects. But now, I won't be able to experience this 3D film anymore, no thanks to Bob Iger. You know, it's bad enough that they've gotten rid of Splash Mountain, but now they're taking down Muppet Vision 3D and replacing it with Monsters Inc. Land? Come on! This was Jim Henson's last project. Why would you even consider taking it down now? You're making Jim Henson roll around in his grave for God's sake. Look, I like Monsters Inc. and all, but we already have a Monsters Inc. attraction at Disneyland called Mike and Sully to the Rescue, which replaced the notorious Superstar Limo ride, which I never experienced at all, and rightfully so because I've heard it wasn't all that great to begin with. Well, that concludes my further thoughts on why Disney sucks now. I hope you've enjoyed this follow-up video. If you have, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you want to, and click the bell icon to be notified for my latest uploads. And if there's anything else you think I might have missed, then feel free to let me know too. But remember, no flame wars and no witch hunting, okay? I don't want any drama on this channel whatsoever. This is Trevor signing off, and I quote Mickey Mouse. See ya real soon!